Growing up, was difficult at times, because we sometimes struggled financially. And my dad, it was up to him to raise us by himself. What I admire the most about my dad is he really persevered and pushed, through life and through obstacles. He really doesn't give up, and he always reminds us that what he does, it's, to keep us moving forward. After school, I would spend hours in the library studying. I didn't have internet at home. I had to go over to the McDonald's and finish up some homework. And I remember, looking up and seeing this poster in the lobby. It was about the Hacer scholarship. So I applied. At first I felt, what are the odds? But then I remember my dad always saying, you have to push through. You have to have hope.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I have to take a moment and say, wow. Now, with the tour that we've been doing, I've seen that commercial a bunch of times, and it never ceases to inspire me and just get me so inspired. Eric's story and his family, congratulating them. And what strikes me is how similar it is to so many stories of people that are on with us right now, and how many students we work with all across the country. A story of resiliency, a story of overcoming obstacles, and I get super excited that we get to help the next generation of Erics in our community with these amazing virtual sessions we're doing. So welcome, welcome to our virtual workshop series. Now, this is part of the 2021 McDonald's Hacer Education Tour. Hopefully, you've come to some of our parent programming, or maybe staff members have attended staff and told you to be here. Maybe you're a staff member here learning things to help students with essays. We are excited, regardless of who you are. Maybe you're a parent that was in the parent session yesterday, and you wanted to bring your kid. You brought the chanclas, like, you must go to this session. It's amazing. Wherever you're coming from, whoever you are, we are excited that you are joining us, all right, tonight. I'm your host. My name is Carlos Alberto Ojeda Torres Rivera de Jesus Jr., but you can call me Chu. All my friends and family call me that, and I'm your host for the night. All right. We have a great stuff prepared for you today, but specifically, I got to be honest with you. I don't know about you, but the hardest part of the entire college application process for me was the essay. I was horrible. I could not put two words together. I mean, I know I had a story. I know I wanted to tell it, but I didn't know how to put pen and paper together to create an essay out of it. And now, maybe some of you are just like me. Uh, you know, maybe you're the opposite of me. Maybe you are great with words. Either which way, guess what? It's lucky for all of us, because tonight we're going to hear from a very special guest who's going to be sharing some great tips and tricks to help us approach essay writing in a unique way. Now, I know that sounds like hype up, but look, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. My son is a senior, and he attended the last essay writing session, and he was struggling. And he went through these exercises, and he had his first draft of his essay complete, and it was awesome. It actually made me choke up, right? He was scared to show it to me, and I'm being objective. I'm not being, because I'm a dad and I'm looking out for my kid. It was good. The exercises and the tips that we're going to have tonight is going to help you get started on writing, all right? So our workshop tonight will require some participation from you, all right? So we're going to want you to get up in the chat, all right? And they're already started. I see some memes. I really see what's happening, and I like it. The memes are a little distracting, but it's good. And maybe you want some writing material. See, I got my journal, and I'm ready. I got my pen, and I'm ready to write. So we want you to get involved, all right? We want you not just to listen, but we want you to engage with us, engage with yourself. Also, did we mention that there's the opportunity to win some prizes, all right? On behalf of McDonald's and Cool Speak. Yes, you heard me. We got prize giveaway. So not only are you going to learn how to write better essays, but on behalf of McDonald's, you're going to get some prizes, all right? Tonight, we have $25 McDonald's Arch Card. So if you're like me, you love them papitas, man. You love them French fries. And you know, I'm gonna keep it real. I love getting vanilla milkshake with my French fries and dipping them. All right. You may think it's nasty, but for me, that is everything. All right. But you don't have to do that. You can get your favorite McDonald's meal with the Arch cards, and we also have McDonald's merch pack filled with McDonald's swag. So I know you're thinking, how do we win? We've got two ways to enter. All right. The first one is, you're going to grab your phone and you're going to see the QR code. All right. You can scan the QR code with your phone, and you can open up your phone, get to the camera, go up to the QR code, make sure that the camera's there. You're going to get a notification. You click that notification, you follow the steps, and it'll get you in the win. The second way to do it, all right, all you have to do is use your phone again and then text. All right. All you're going to have to do is text I said more. All right. Text I said more to 866-213-5881. All right. Winners are going to be chosen at random, and we'll be letting you know who won what after the workshop. All right, so you got to stick with us throughout, and after the workshop, we're going to let you know. One thing to keep in mind, all right, keep your eye on your text messages, all right, because we are going to be messaging you, our winners. You're going to get text messages from us, and you're going to be notified by text. So we're super excited. And one last thing, have fun. I know it's writing, but you know what? We've got somebody amazing here. The energy is right. We got nothing but love here. It's going to be awesome, and you're going to have a good time while preparing something that's going to be life transforming for you. That essay that you'll need for college applications and for the all important scholarships, right? We're going to write these essays and we're going to have fun doing it, all right? So it is my honor, all right, to introduce who we've got coming to the virtual stage. I was a huge fan of this man, all right? He is the world poetry word he is the world spoken word poetry champion. I remember watching him on the HBO Def Poetry Jam. He drops it like it's hot. He is an award-winning teacher. He is also an author, and he published a book called Dollars for Scholars. It is a handbook to writing scholarship essay that can win scholarships. All right, so he's doing these really amazing college essay writing book. But more importantly, and the reason I call him my brother after all these years, and he's my dear friend, is that he is an amazing man. He is an amazing father, an amazing husband to his wife, and he gives to the community, always giving to the community. And tonight he's taken time to hang out with us and give some of his time, his energy, his love, and his knowledge to each and every one of us. So make some virtual noise, show some love in the chat for our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Joaquin Zihuatanejo.
Thank you so much, Chu. What an honor to be here with you all tonight. Thank you, the McDonald's Hacer Scholarship, for letting me be a very small part of this very large scholarship process that is the McDonald's Hacer Scholarship. Now, we're going to talk about the short response section of that particular McDonald's Hacer Scholarship. Now, traditionally, the scholarship can be long form, upwards of 1,000 words, 1,200 words, 700 words, 500 words. But that's not the case with McDonald's Hacer Scholarship. These are short response answers. So you're only going to have 300 words for one question, 100 words for a few others. That's very concise and impactful writing. So let's talk about how we can do it well. Let's go through some techniques and tips that can enhance your short essay response for this scholarship. But before we do, let's take a look at the questions. Let's go through them one by one and just talk about them for a moment so that you can get your eyes on them. So I'm going to challenge you right now to have your phone ready, or your screenshot capability button, or something to capture the essence. Even if it's just a quick note on a piece of paper, let's see if we can capture the essence of some of these questions so that we have them with us today, tomorrow, throughout this week, this month that we're working on these responses. So we'll go through them one by one. We'll talk about them very briefly, and then we're going to come back in the second half, part 2 of our workshop, and look at one in great detail. So let's look at the first question. What career path are you planning to pursue? What do you want to be when you grow up, and why? Now, I knew early in life that I wanted to be a writer, and now you're getting to that point where you know what your dream is, so you have to be prepared to write about what your future is, what your career path is for your future. And remember, I told you that they vary from time to time in this process, from 300 words to 100 words. I'll let you know right now, only one question in this packet, in this online packet that you're going to fill out, is a 300 word limit. And this is that question. So make a special note of this one, that you have a little more room to luxuriate in the language of your response for this question. Let's look at another question. The next one reads, what has most influenced your professional or career aspirations for the future? I think about my grandfather putting a book in my hand and challenging me to read aloud. That's what made me want to be a writer. That's what made me want to be a teacher. That's what made me want to be a poet. So you're going to have to be able to talk about what it was that influenced your professional or future career aspirations. Now this one, please take note. The rest of the questions are going to have a 100 word limit. That is not a lot of room. So we're going to talk about how we can write that 100 word response effectively in just a moment. If you want to capture this one, feel free. Now, Let's take a look at the next question. You go further with company. Describe an influential person in your life and how he or she has changed your view of yourself and the world. You may use examples from your family life, community service, or extracurricular activities. I talk a lot in my keynotes, in my lectures, in my talks about my grandfather. When I think about the one person who taught me everything I needed to know about life, I think about El Jardín de mi abuelo, my grandfather's garden, because it was there that I learned to work hard and I learned to help things grow. If I write an essay about my grandfather's garden, a short response, you know what? It's already starting to answer itself because the ideals are already starting to come through and you're already thinking about that person in your life who influenced you. Now, I want you to put an asterisk besides this one because I think we're going to come back to this one later. So make sure you have a snapshot or a photo or at least a notation about this one. And also keep in mind, again, 100-word limit for this one. Let's look at the next one. Some believe that a person of character demonstrates the following 6 qualities: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Pick one of these qualities. Describe the value of this quality and most importantly, explain how you've exemplified this trait. If you take a photo of this question or if you write it down on a piece of paper, I would go out of my way to highlight or circle the one that's jumping off the page at you for a possible response. Because remember, you're going to be challenged with narrowing down to one of these 6. So keep that in mind. 100-word limit for this question, not a lot of room to elaborate. So we have to make sure we choose just the right quality and give the best answer that we can in the room that we have. So let's move on. Describe a time when you were in a leadership position. What obstacles did you have to overcome? How did you overcome those obstacles to obtain your goal? Now, this response might come from inside the academic world that you live in, something that happened on campus, on a field, on a court, and that's fine. But this response might come from outside that world, maybe at a job that you hold, or maybe something that you were doing to help your family. So keep in mind, this response is really open-ended, and you can almost write about anything. But again, a 100-word limit. It's not a lot of room to elaborate, so we have to make sure that we make every word, every sentence count. Now, I want to echo what Chu said earlier. Chu said that for him, one of the hardest parts of the scholarship application process was the short answer response or the essay response or the personal statement response. And I think that's the case for a lot of us. But I used to travel around the country a great deal. Now I do that virtually. And this incredible company, CoolSpeak, that Chu and Ernesto run, they would send me all over the country to high schools and middle schools and talk with young people about writing, and in particular, scholarship essay writing. And it was a program that I did with many schools in Philadelphia, where I just basically talked to them about how to write an effective scholarship essay. At the end of that few weeks with those great students in Philadelphia, one of the teachers, as I was walking away, said to me, "Mr. Joaquin, I wish there was a book that you wrote that you could leave with us to give them even more tips and more help." And that is where my inspiration came from my latest book, Dollars for Scholars, which is a guide to help students transition from high school senior to college freshman, but be thinking about that scholarship application process as early as they can. And when I was doing my research for the book and traveling around the country and talking with people in the know, people who are actually part of scholarship application boards and committees, I was asking them lots of questions, but one in particular. What is that thing? What is the X factor? The thing that puts the student over the top? The thing that makes you say, we have to give her a scholarship or we have to give him a scholarship? And every single person that I asked that question to had the exact same answer. The short response, the personal statement, the essay. That's where the secret lies, because it's in those moments that they get to see you as a person, not just as a scholar. Yes, they want you to do well academically in school. And yes, they want you to be an active citizen of your campus and be involved in clubs and organizations. And yes, they want you to be an active citizen of your community and volunteer and give back. And yes, they want you to have a couple of solid letters of recommendation. And yes, they want you to have solid ACT and SAT score, all those things that go into being an effective scholar, the kind of scholar that wins scholarships, they want you to have all those things, but the thing that sets you apart from others for them is that short answer response, that personal statement, that scholarship essay. Because again, it's where they can come to know you. It's where they can come to believe in you. It's where they can come to root and cheer for you. That's how important it is. So, I know thinking about those really big questions that we saw earlier as part of the McDonald's Hacer Scholarship can be daunting to think about. So, let's keep those sort of on the side burner. We're going to turn it down to simmer. And let's just say to ourselves, we have something to say to the world. We have something to write. We have an answer inside of us. And I'll prove it to you right now. We'll do an activity that I like to call sometimes 12 in less than 12, 15 in less than 15. I have so many variations. But we only have time tonight for about 12. I want to prove to you that you have some ideas inside you right now that are worthy of scholarship short answer responses or scholarship essays. So let's begin the brainstorming process with some brainstorming lists. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen, this is where we're going to put pen to page or pencil to page. If you have another tablet, you can type to the side, or another laptop. But we're going to write tonight, and it's going to start with brainstorming. Let's prove to the world that we have something to say. And then in that second session after our break, we're actually going to write it. Let's come up with a brainstorming ideal list. The first list, let's call people. Then number down 1, 2, 3. So you're writing down the word people on a piece of paper, and then underneath you're going to number down 1, 2, 3. And I want you to think back on all of your life. And I want you to think back on the people who have been really influential in your life. The people who have taught you about leadership. The people who have taught you about the value of education. The people who have taught you about how important it is to face your challenges and overcome obstacles. Maybe that's a grandfather, a teacher, a best friend. It can be anyone. I'll give you about 10, 15 seconds to write down their names or identifiers right now. My mother's name is Maria. I wouldn't write down Maria. I'd write down Ma, because that's what I call her, Ma or Ama. So you have about 15 seconds to write down 3 people that have had a big influence in your life. Go. And again, it could be anybody. Teacher, mentor, parent. You decide. Excellent work. And by the way, this isn't about quantity. This is about quality. So if you don't get all 3, don't worry. Come up with 1 or 2 great ideas for each list, and that works too. Now, here's what I want you to do. After each person, I want you to put a little line, a little hyphen after each person. And now we're going to elaborate. Now I'm going to give you about another 30 seconds to write down a thought, a memory, an image, a place for that person where you learned something from them, where they inspired you, where they taught you, where they challenged you, where they influenced you. A moment, a memory. If I wrote down the word abuelo or grandfather, I would write down the garden where he taught me how to help things grow. That's what I write down for my thought. So just a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 words, whatever it takes to get that complete thought down. I'll give you about 30, 40 seconds for this. Try and get as many as you can. Go. Keep writing, keep thinking. We're going to write up until the end tonight. Okay, well done. Let's move on to another brainstorming list. So this will be our second brainstorming list of the night. We're going to call this one places. So write down the word places, maybe off to the side or underneath or wherever you have room, and number down 1, 2, 3, again, just as you did before. And now I want you to think about 3 places in your life where you exemplified leadership or overcame an obstacle. 3 places in your life where you exemplified leadership or overcame an obstacle. And again, that might take place in a classroom, in a lecture hall, in an auditorium, in a gymnasium, on a field. But it could also take place at your home, in your backyard, at a job you have in the neighborhood. 3 places of significance. And write down the name of those places. Give you about 15, 20 seconds to write down 3 places where you exemplified leadership or where you overcame an obstacle. Go. Go. And again, if you only come up with one or two, that's absolutely fine. Do your very best. Excellent work. Now let's do the same thing we did for people. Let's put a little line or a little hyphen after each one. And again, a thought, a memory, an image of that place, of that obstacle, of that moment when you were a great leader. So now we're going to elaborate with a phrase, with a thought. Might be 5 words, might be 6 words. I'll give you 30 or 40 seconds to come up with a thought for that place. I might think about Miss Malowick's English 3 classroom when I was in high school, and how that was the first time anyone ever told me they thought I could be a great writer someday, and that was my teacher, Mrs. Malowick. So I might write something down to that effect. 3 places, and then an elaboration out to the side. Another 10 or 15 seconds if you're still thinking and writing. Excellent work. Let's move on to a third idea list for tonight. And we're going to title this one Credo. C-R-E-D-O. Sometimes I taught my English students a trick when they were taking the SAT or ACT. If you see a word on the test that you don't know what it means, think about a word in another language that it looks like. And if you don't know what credo means, you notice it kind of looks like the word creer in Spanish. And what does creer mean? To believe. So these are 3 words that you believe in, 3 words that you live by, 3 very large words. Words like trustworthiness, words like citizenship, words like fairness, words like kindness. What are the 3 words that you live by? 3 large words that you live by. I'll give you about 30 seconds to think and write down those 3 words that you live by. Go for it. And again, if you only come up with 1 or 2, know that I'm entirely proud of you. Again, quality, not quantity. All right, scholars, excellent work. You know what? No elaboration needed for this one. Let's move on to the last list tonight. This idea list we're going to call Someday. And I want you to list your 3 somedays right now, but I want you to think about your future, your career path. So think about 3 things that you will become, accomplish, or achieve. What are those 3 things for you that you'll become, or that you'll accomplish, or that you'll achieve someday? You can dream as big as you want for this one. It's entirely up to you. 30 seconds to write down 3 future professional accomplishments, 3 future dreams that you have for your life, that you'll become, that you'll do. Go. Now, for those of us out there who think we don't have anything to write about, let's look at these lists that we just created in a matter of minutes. We've proven on the page or the screen to ourselves and to the world that we have something to say, that our voice is important, that our voice matters. And that's what this short answer response for the McDonald's Hacer Scholarship is all about. It's about using your voice to tell that reader, that scholarship application reader, who you are, what your dream is, and how you're going to fight to make it a reality. Now, I've got more to say about this whole short answer scholarship essay writing stuff, but it's been a minute since we talked to my friend Chu. So I think we should take a quick break and let my main man Chu do what he does, and who knows, maybe even give away some prizes or give us some information that I know we're going to need. So I'm going to send it back to Chu now.
Oh, my bad. I was still writing, Joaquin. You got me going, man. You got me super excited. Hope you're loving the energy on the chat has been phenomenal. People are writing, they're chatting. Can't wait till we get to the writing part. Joaquin is right. We have prizes for those individuals that got here a little late, all right, and didn't hear me earlier. We're giving away $25 McDonald's Arch cards. So if you like French fries and milkshake the way I do, or you like chicken nuggets, or you like the Big Mac, you can get whatever you want if you win a $25 Arch card, right? Additionally, we've got a merch pack with McDonald's swag. All you have to do to be eligible to win, pull out your phone, scan the QR code that's right over here, all right? Scan this QR code with your phone, and you will be given all the steps to qualify. And if you don't want to do that, just text I said more to the numbers right down here, all right? Right over here, right? You're going to text I said more to 866-213-5881. You're going to find out if you won by the end of it. Make sure you're looking at your text messages. We're going to be sending messages to you, all right, letting the winners know so you can hit us back, all right? So please, all right, in this momentary break, while you're still thinking about what you're going to write in the next session with Joaquin, make sure you enter to win, all right? So you get the prizes and the information. It's going to be a wonderful night, y'all. So Joaquin, what do we got next, man? It's been going great so far. I love the energy. What's the next step?
It's time to write. So, before we dive into the writing aspect of this next component of our workshop series, I want to talk briefly about some key components about the scholarship itself, the McDonald's Hacer Scholarship. I want you to know that the window is open. It is actually an open scholarship right now. It opened October 20th, and it doesn't close until February 7th. But I don't want you to fall into that trap that some of us fall into of waiting to the last minute. Because life always finds a way of interrupting. I don't want you to wait till the 5th or 6th of February, because what if life throws you an obstacle, a challenge, and for whatever reason, you just can't get to the portal, you just can't enter. So we're going to shoot for the next few days, the next few weeks, the next month. I want you to enter early. I want you to start thinking about it now and start putting fingers to keyboard and pen to page and start preparing for it now. I used to tell my students when I was a high school English teacher, I think 5 minutes early should be on time, not on time, because I want you to know that this opportunity is now. It's now. It's today. It's tomorrow. Don't wait till down the line. Shoot for now. And again, you just go to www.mcdonalds.com/hacer and look at those prizes. Good googly moogly. So many scholarship awards are going to be given. Thank you, McDonald's. Thank you, McDonald's Hacer. So now I want to dive into the writing. We looked at some of the short response questions earlier, but I want to call one back up, one that I asked you to make a notation of, and that was the question that relates to an influential person in your life. Once again, I'll read through it. You go further with company. Describe an influential person in your life and how he or she has changed your view of yourself and the world. You may use examples from your family life, community service, or extracurricular activities. I want to remind you again about the 100-word limit. But before you begin writing, I want you to remember that even though these are short responses, it's not a one-sentence answer. Sometimes a sentence can be as short as 8 words, 10 words, and still be a complete, well-written sentence. But you have 100 words to play with here. And I want you to luxuriate in that language. And why do I want you to luxuriate in that 100 words? Is because that's the moment where you anchor yourself before the scholarship application reader's eyes. This is where they can come to know you, believe in you, and root for you. So we're not going to take 6 words to answer this question. We're going to take 60. We're going to take 68. We're going to take 70. We're going to take 82. We're going to take 94. Whatever it takes to answer it thoroughly. So, I'm going to reset my clock. And this is going to be the silent writing session. Now, we're only going to have 4 minutes. That might not be enough time to completely answer the question about this influential person in your life. but it is enough time to get a good start. So let's begin. Pen to page. Let's write about that person who influenced us, who inspired us, who taught us about ourselves, who changed us in a great way. Let's write. You have 4 minutes. Begin. Again, I told you I would talk about my grandmother. This is important. Who's that one person for you? If you're writing with paper, it's okay to press the pen down hard. You might leave an impression on someone you were not intending to impress. Keep writing. This is your 2-minute warning. 2 minutes are already behind us. We only have 2 minutes left. Keep writing. Some people enjoy writing to music. If that helps your creative process, go for it. I'm one of those writers who needs silence, so I like it to be absolutely silent when I'm writing. Do what works for you. 1 minute left. Let's write up until the end. "30-second warning. Final phrase, final thought, final sentence. Start working that way. And time. Okay, that was solid. That was real thinking, real processing, real writing. I'm entirely proud of all of you. So let's go back and look at what we created. So maybe you wrote down 3 sentences. Maybe you wrote down 4 sentences. Maybe you wrote down 5 sentences. Of that cluster of sentences that you just created, this sort of mini paragraph, this short response, go back and reread it right now. And as you're rereading it, I want you to find what you think is the best sentence. And identify it by underlining it or highlighting it, singling it out, because that's what you feel is the strongest writing of the entire response. I'll give you about 15 seconds to find the strongest sentence in your short response. Go. Could be any number of reasons. Maybe it has the best verb. Maybe it has the best word choice or diction. Maybe it's the funniest. Maybe it's the most heartfelt. It's entirely up to you. Now that we have that response in front of us, I want to do another quick revision technique that I always tell my young writers to think about when they're doing a short response answer, because we don't have a lot of time, a lot of space, a lot of words. Again, 100 word maximum. So let's go back and look at those sentences again, this response, and let's underline every verb in each of the 4 sentences, or each of the 3 sentences, or each of the 5 sentences. Let's identify all of the verbs. You can circle them or highlight them or underline them, whatever feels best for you. Do that. I'll give you about 15 seconds to find all the verbs. Go for it. Excellent work. Now, one of the reasons I always challenge my young writers to identify their verbs, to highlight them, to think about them, is the verb is the life force of the language. It's so much more important than the noun, 10 times more important than the adjective, 100 times more important than the adverb, and don't get me started on prepositions. The secret to great writing lies in the verbs. I sometimes teach this very famous scholarship essay when I travel around the country, written by this young Latina from California. And it's about going to a grocery store with her mother. And the first sentence of that essay always strikes a chord in me, because it reads simply this. This is their first sentence. Managing to break free from my mother's grasp, I charged. I'd like to do a theatrical reenactment of that sentence right now. So here it is once again, but this time I'm going to act it out as I say it. Managing to break free from my mother's grasp, I charged. What I love about that sentence is it has action. It has passion. It tells me in just several words that this young scholar is independent, determined, focused. You do not have a lot of room in a 100-word response. So make sure that your sentences are showing you as determined, showing you as independent, showing you as focused, while addressing the actual prompt. We have to make sure that we're on topic, but we have to make sure that our writing is active and passionate. Some people have said to me, Joaquin, tell them to never use a linking verb like is or was. I think it's okay to use those occasionally if they're placed inside a fantastic sentence. So if I could, I want to review a couple of quick tips about effective writing for the short response and for the scholarship essay. So here we are. Some quick tips to remember when you're writing these responses. Number 1, have a great first sentence. It's where they see you. It's where they meet you. It's like shaking that person's hand and looking at them in the eye for the first time. There's so much in that immediate response. The first sentence is maybe the most important in the response. Make sure that it's extraordinary. Maybe write 3 possible first sentences and choose the best one, or combine 2 of those into one great one. Again, to reiterate, check your verbs. Make sure your verbs are active and passionate. Answer the question thoroughly. Now remember, in 100 words, that's not a lot of room. So make sure that you're addressing the topic, but make sure you're using those 4 sentences, those 5 sentences, to be as creative, as passionate, and informative as possible. And lastly, proofread, proofread, proofread. When you're on the website filling out the application, after you hit that final punctuation mark, it's not done. You want to spell check it. You want to think about it. You want to reread it. You want to have maybe a second set of eyes, another scholar that you trust, see what they think of the response. Maybe even have a mentor, like a teacher, or someone that you trust as a great writer and thinker and reader. Have them read it and give you some feedback. No one's rewriting the response for you. We're just giving you some suggestions. How great would it be for someone to say to you, what if your second sentence was your first sentence? Because it's much more engaging. Well, that's what a second set of eyes can do for us. And that's how important proofreading is. There's a lot of tips I'd love to give you, but my goodness, the time is just flying by for our night tonight. But I want to leave you with one final tip. Since the 100-word response is not a lot of room. One of the techniques, and this is a bonus tip that you can do to ensure that your writing stands out from others and is impactful, is to count the number of words in each sentence. So let's say you have 4 sentences in your 90-word response. If you count the words in each sentence and write those numbers out to the side, and your numbers read like this: 23, 23, 22, 20. You might consider rewriting, because those sentences are all the exact same length. And great writers don't write like that. We write with short sentences and medium length sentences and long sentences. Remember, short sentences convey urgency. Long sentences convey drama or suspense. And mid-length sentences tend to be connectors of ideas. So instead of maybe 22, 23, 21, and 20, maybe your 4 sentences looks like 8, 31, 21, 16. That's what we call sentence variation. And it's important that your short response have that. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe our time has come and gone. But I got to turn things back over to my main man with the plan, Mr. Chu. Chu, what do you got for us? How are we closing this thing out tonight? Were you
Brother,
monitoring the chat? Were there any questions popping off for us?
yeah, there were questions, brother. I didn't know I had to do math, so I'm sitting here on my phone trying to figure out the counting those sentences, right? Trying to figure that out. Joaquin, thank you, thank you, thank you. The lessons were great. The chat was very active. A lot of people. I was hoping maybe if some scholar is brave enough, maybe share some lines that they wrote. That would be awesome in the chat, so we can all kind of feel that. But yeah, I think we've got a few questions that came in, uh, coming in. Here we go. What do you think is one of the best cures for writer's block? Because that's
Oh, that's a
my son
fantastic
had
question.
it, and I've had it from time to time. So, what do you think is a good a couple tips to help people with writer's block?
Very quickly, sometimes we fall into the habit of same space, same time. Like, I go to my scholarship application desk in my bedroom between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m., and that's when I apply and that's when I write. And sometimes that sameness can cause a little bit of a rut. So I always say, if you're struggling, break up the monotony. Go to a different room, your grandmother's kitchen, your mom's living room, the backyard, down the street to a park, and maybe write at a different time, in the morning, in the afternoon. I think the brain is sometimes more alive and more awake at different times in the day than we know. So let's break up that monotony of the same routine and same time and same space by maybe writing in a different place every once in a while. And secondly, and this is the best piece of advice I can give to someone suffering from writer's block, and that is to read. Read, read, read as much as you can, because when you hang out with words, you get better at them. And there's so many
That's
great
awesome.
writers writing today. What a great time to be a reader.
Yes, that is awesome. How can I make my writing more impactful? Right? The young people are always reading things, especially those readers, and they see, wow, it can be intimidating when they read great works and go, "There's no way that I can be great or impactful." Right? I'm just Andrea, or I'm just Chu, or how do I make it more impactful, Joaquin?
Let's think about making our writing more impactful for a 100-word response. Let's think about the McDonald's Hacer scholarship. So you address the question, you think about it, you write, you revise, you edit. But here's what you can do. Go to a second set of ears, a second set of eyes. And if maybe even not even have them read it, but what if you read it to them? You read the response to them, and then actually allow them to talk back to you. Did the response impact them? If not, why? If so, how? This is how we reflect on our own writing. And remember, when it comes to that being impactful in that 100-word frame, luxuriate in your language. Do not just write one sentence. Give us more than 10 words. Give us more than 12 words. Give us 56. Give us 71. Give us 94. You've got 100 words to play with. So use those words.
And you know what, Joaquin, you said something that really touched the nerve. Reading it to someone. I used to intently watch someone's facial features when I would read something to them. Did an eyebrow raise, right? Did they take a breath? Did they frown at something I said? All of those things were great for me because I'm a visual learner. So that reaction was always like, oh, okay, wow. Because if I wanted the eyebrow raise, then I got it. Then that meant that what I wrote like was on point. If I got a laugh when I wasn't expecting, it's like, well, where's the funny? So I really like that tip of sharing because you get to see the person's reaction. Alexander has, how can I make my application stand out? How do I do it?
Well, one of the things I said earlier was the short response section, the personal statement section, the scholarship essay question. This is where we get to say who we are in the world and how we are in the world. This is where we get to tell our stories. So this is where we make ourselves stand out. And as I said before, when it comes to great writing, the secret lies in the verbs. When you go back and you reread your short response, I want you to double check, triple check those verbs. Are they engaging? Are they passionate? Are they active? Are they extraordinary? Because you are engaging. You are powerful. You are extraordinary. And shouldn't your writing be as extraordinary as you? I think it should.
You know, Joaquin, as most people don't know this, but me and Ernesto, we are on the scholarship committee. So not only do we participate in the tour and then we speak for it, but we write. And Joaquin is absolutely right. You, most of you are going to have the academics. Most of you are going to have those activities, and they're going to be there, right? But what's going to stand out in the one place where there is diversity, right, is those short answer questions. No, none of them are going to be the same. Yeah, if everybody has all A's and everybody has activities, those answer questions, your opportunity to share your story and leverage the power of your narrative, it's what's going to separate you from everyone else. Well, we're all out of questions and we're all out of time. The fact that that came up lets me know that we want to hear your feedback. All right. Did you enjoy this? In the chat, Joaquin, people are saying this was super useful. We had young ladies talking about how she procrastinated and this helped her get going. We had another person say that this was super helpful. Someone said that this calmed them down and relaxed them about the process. We've got chats coming in. We want to hear from you, more feedback from you. So all we're asking for you to do is to go to the URL right here, right? clsbk.com/Hacer3 and fill out an evaluation. Let us know how we did. Let Joaquin know how he did. Let Alexander and Natalie, our sign language interpreters that have been amazing, let me know how I did. And if you do that, you're going to get a free electronic version of the Getting Gear book, which is a college readiness book that me and Ernesto wrote. All right. So you get a free version. You get a book. This is the college readiness book with tons of information and tips on essay as well. All we need you to do is to fill out the evaluation and let us know how we did. Give us that feedback so we can make this program better for others. I believe, Joaquin, that now is the time that everybody's been waiting. They've been scanning the QR code. They've been texting. I said more, and I believe that now is the time for me to announce our three big winners of the merch pack with the McDonald's swag. All right, our first winner is, drum roll, Lauren Keels from Columbia, South Carolina. South Carolina in the house. Y'all got some good barbecue out there. I'm not going to say if it's better or worse than anybody else, but you got some good ones. Congratulations. You're going to get your swag bag. It's going to be awesome. Next winner. Who's up? Anais Castellanos from Shorewood, Illinois. Oh, we're going all over the country. All right. We're going down south. Now we're up in cold Illinois. Congratulations. You also will be getting that merch pack. Our last winner. Here we go. All right. Martha Contreras from Lawndale, California. We did go all across. Mira, we made it all the way across from the east to the west. Congratulations. Also, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check your text messages. All right. Because if you won those arch cards, we're going to be texting you, giving you that information so you can get those arch cards and you can get your grub on at McDonald's. All right. Joaquin, awesome day, man. Awesome, awesome, awesome session. If you look, they're applauding. It's awesome. If you enjoyed it, look, people are giving you applause in the chat. Great. Thank you for sharing. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to share wonderful tips, amazing tips for our young people. How do you feel?
I feel great. I was just happy to be a small part of it. And one last time, I just want to say thank you to CoolSpeak for helping me get to students and helping me serve students. And thank you again, McDonald's and McDonald's Hacer Scholarship for changing lives, for changing the futures of some amazing young people.
And you know what? This isn't it. We've got more events. So if you enjoyed this, we've got upcoming workshops. All right. So November 16th, that's a big one. All right. It is the student workshop. It's going to be our second one, 1 p.m. Eastern, November 16th. If your school isn't already signed up to participate, go tell a counselor, go tell your principal, your superintendent, like we got to be there. We're going to have Julissa Calderon, Ernesto, me. We're going to have prizes, speeches. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to have a wonderful time November 16th. And then our next one after that isn't until next year, January 19th, 2022 at 1 p.m. will be the next one. We will be having another essay writing workshop January 20th, 2022 at 1 p.m. Eastern, so you can do it in school. All right, so you can go to your counselor and say, hey, can we get some students together and watch this, participate? Look, you want to share love, share the knowledge, right? It shouldn't just be for you. College isn't an individual process or journey. It's a collective journey, a journey of our families and our community towards success. So share this knowledge, share this love. Alexander, Natalie, thank you very much. Joaquin, thank you very much. On behalf of McDonald's and CoolSpeak, thank you for coming out. Use these tips. Let your story take you as far as you can dream. Have a great night.